I'm going to begin this project by stringing on a 15mm bugle, 3mm round, 15mm bugle, and 3mm round, and bring these down to the end of my thread. I'm going to leave about a 4 to 6 inch tail, and I'm going to tie them together in a knot. I made one knot, and now I'm going around and I'm going to pass my tail thread twice through my loop and pull tightly, and as tightly as I possibly can. And now I have my first right angle weave unit. I'm going to go ahead and just going to take this tail thread and pass it through the 3mm round here, and just so that it's not right there where I tied that knot. And I know it might be a little hard to see because of what I'm using, but I'm going to, in a little while, I'm going to take another needle and just go around that unit with that tail thread, and I'm going to cut it off so that it won't be in the way. Now, you have to reinforce each unit that you make. That is very important, because this is a very fiddly project, and you want your beads, your metal pieces, and your crystals to not to move around, because if they move around, it's going to be hard to keep them together when we are doing other stitching. Now I've done my reinforcement, and now I'm going to just reposition, and I'm repositioning by passing up the bugle and into this 3mm round. Okay, once here now, I'm going to string on 2 of my 2mm rounds. Okay, and these are round, so finding the hole is not too easy. So I've got 2 of my 2mm, and then 3 of my crystals, and then 2 more of the 2mm rounds. Now once I have these on, I'm going to pass my needle into the next 3mm round on the same side. I'm just going to go right through here on the same side and pull my thread. I want it to be comfortable in my hands, and make sure that you pull with enough tension to make sure that your rounds and your crystals stay on that side. And then once here, I need to string on a 2mm round, and I'm going to skip over the first 2mm round that's there and pass my needle into the next 2mm round, the 3 crystals, and this first or top 2mm round. Pull the thread, and when you pull the thread, just make sure that you can't see any gaps here. We're looking to minimize gaps, And once here, now string on a 3mm, I'm sorry, a 2mm round, and pass the needle into the 3mm round on this side. Pull the thread. And this is what we have. Now, these beads have the tendency, let me back off just a little. Yes, just a little more. These beads here have the tendency to sink in and go behind these bugle beads. And we don't want that to happen. So in order to prevent that, we have to reinforce that embellishment. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going into these 2mm and these bicones and the top 2mm. I'm turning it around to make sure that I have actually gone through, and I can't see my needle on that side. So I'm just going to continue, and I'm going to pull the needle, pull the thread, and get my tail out of the way. Pull that and into this, maybe I shouldn't have backed off, into this 2mm round. And of course, there we are, into this 2mm round. And now into the 3mm round here, the crossover. And I'm going to flip it around so that I can work comfortably and away from myself, and pass my needle here into this first 2mm bead. And into this bottom here 2mm, and through all 3 of the crystals, and through that top 2mm, flipping over to make sure that I can't see my needle on this side, and I cannot, and pull the thread, tighten up, and now into this 2mm bead here. And into this 3mm round here, and down into this bugle on the side. Okay, and of course get things tangled up. So I'm going to now pause the recording so that I can stitch my tail thread into the this first right angle weave, embellished right angle weave unit, and just want to make sure that you are with me if you are making this project. So this is what we have right now. We have one right angle weave unit that has been embellished, and this is where we are. When I turn my camera back on, I'm not going to go any place. I'm just going to string my tail thread and work it away and cut it off, and then we will continue making the units when I turn the camera back on.